I've worked with mountain gorillas for 25 years. Kanyoni is one of my favorite gorillas. I first got to know Kanyoni in Bwindi when we used to visit that particular gorilla group, the Mubare gorilla group, which is the very first gorilla group to be habituated for tourism. I got to see a gorilla that was always playing with her younger brother. When I asked the rangers, why are you calling her Kahara? And Kahara means a special girl. And they were like, yeah, because she liked to babysit her baby brother. So I saw that Kanyoni and his older sister were very close, and I found that very fascinating. It really reminded me of human relationships. In 1998, Kanyoni was 2 years old and Kahara was 6 years old. I was called in to treat Kahara because I was the only vet at the time at the Uganda Wildlife Authority. When we went to the night nest, Kahara was very, very weak and she wasn't getting up and moving around like the rest, and there were lots and lots of flies in her night nest. She had a rectal prolapse, and actually, if I'd not operated on Kahara the day that I did, the maggots would have entered into the body cavity and she would have died. This was the first time for me to do the operation, and that's why I was very nervous. But it was like I either do it that very day and Kahara has a chance of surviving, or I don't do it and try and wait for more hands to help me, and she may not make it. Everyone had so much hope in me because I was the most qualified person amongst the people who were checking on Kahara regularly. I felt quite apprehensive because also normally I would have had the vets from Mountain Gorilla Vet Project helping me, but that day they had to be somewhere else and they couldn't help me. But I did consult with one of them, and he gave me an idea of, he had ever used sugar when he had prolapses in cattle. But when you put sugar, it shrinks, it sucks in the water, the fluid, and it shrinks back. So I got some sugar from breakfast and I carried it with me. When I was doing that operation, I really was determined that I do it as best as I can and she recovers, because I felt to myself that if we lose Kahara, it will be a big loss to conservation because she's a female gorilla and she's going to have 6 babies in her lifetime, but also her little brother will really miss her. I did it on the ground. I didn't have an operating table. I got 2 forceps and tightened them to the place where I wanted to amputate. And then I got a scalpel blade and slowly amputated the rotten parts. And after doing that, she stopped bleeding. Whatever was remaining was very, very swollen, which freaked me out a bit. And then, of course, I had remembered the trick of carrying sugar from breakfast. And I put sugar on the prolapse and it shrunk. It's like, wow, this is amazing. So then I was able to then push the prolapse into the body of Kahara. And after that, I sutured. When I saw that that part had gone well, then she started to recover from the anesthetic. So we supported her and held her until she was able to get up and start moving around by herself. The next day we checked on her. She had gained some strength. And after a few days, she was able to climb the trees again. And the rangers were so excited. They were like, oh, you're like a witch doctor, you know, like they're just joking, because they really didn't think she was going to make it. They thought I had performed a miracle. And so I was just so excited that she got better and that she could actually reunite with her little brother again. And we continued to watch the relationship between Kanyoni and Kahara over the years. So Kanyoni became the lead silverback of that group. Silverback is actually when a gorilla develops gray hair, and the older they get, the more silver it becomes. And he led the group very ably for 5 years. I'd say that Kanyoni was a very strong and gentle leader. He never lost the playfulness of a young male. And the females loved him because he was a gentle silverback and he had many females. But unfortunately, because he never had other young males in the group, when he died, the group really split up. And how did Kanyoni die? He actually died of natural causes. He climbed up a tree and fell down, and he never recovered. I remember visiting Kanyoni a few days before he died. So he actually made a nest in front of us and lay down in his nest. And there was a female called Karunji, which means beautiful. She was with a baby and just following him the whole time, trying to keep close to him. And like 3 or 4 days later, Kanyoni died, which was very, very sad. He passed on at the age of 21, which is actually very young for gorillas. almost all Kanyoni's offspring were killed. Gorillas are like lions. If they know that the baby is not theirs, they'll kill the baby of the female because they want her to have their baby very quickly. About 3 or 4 Kanyoni offspring were killed, but one of them survived. The rangers kept telling me that the other females were always protecting the baby from the silverback. And guess what? The baby who everyone called Masanyu, which means joy in the local language, this particular baby made it. And the nice thing about it is that Kanyoni's legacy lives on. My hope for the future is that mountain gorillas' numbers can continue to grow. And actually, once you protect gorillas, you also protect all the other species in their habitat. In Bwindi forest, we not only have gorillas, but we have chimpanzees. We also have elephants, and we have a whole range of monkeys, including the blue monkey, and we also have the louse monkey, and then we also have over 300 species of birds. And it's also a forest, like once you have a forest, you have water, you have more rain. So there's lots of advantages to protecting a habitat. And sometimes you need a charismatic species like a gorilla to protect a habitat. But the gorillas and their habitat is very, very important for everyone, not just the wildlife, but the people as well, and the planet in general. I would hope that Masanyu ends up heading the Mubare group, because then it will be a generation of leaders. That would be really, really amazing if it does.